Mr. Speaker, fiction is good. Fiction is the only way for society and the government to govern a nation with different ideology and multiplicity of backgrounds, Mr. Speaker. Without fiction, without illusion, how can we alternatively run society better? That is why we need a political theory as a fiction to rationalize a policy to fulfill our accountability to the public. That is why we propose the motion. Notice, Mr. Speaker, what they have proven in this debate is social contractology has some defects. Or I will concede, it is not perfect theory at all. But we are more than happy to implement this policy based upon that social contractology as a rationale, so that we can practically people are able to make decisions about specific policies. Moreover, Mr. Speaker, the defects that they have exemplified in this debate are something that we are able to overcome in the long run. I would like to explore this idea later in my speech. Based on that, I'm going to give you three argumentations as why social contractology is a desirable rationale to run the state. One, contractual relationship is the most inclusive form of institution to run state. Secondly, social contractology has a reciprocity and mutual beneficiality that benefits people in many circumstances. And number three, the social contractology enables us to hold our leaders as well as the public accountable for the policies and politics. Moving on to the first argumentations, and I would like to incorporate refutation to the other side of the house in my speech. One about why contractual relationship is the most inclusive form of running the state. The premise of this idea is we need people to obey the law and order, otherwise we can't run the state in the first place. So we need some form of rationale to justify obedience, and we believe the contractual relationship is most fair and inclusive and fairly distribute the burden to everyone across the border, and that is important here. So let me analyze the real social context. There are many people in a specific geographical territory with different background, maybe different religion, different ethnicity, different socioeconomic background, different political ideology, and all of them is what they have explained. Therefore, it's very difficult to public to naturally reach consensus by themselves. Here comes the importance of illusion. Here comes the importance of fiction to rationalize themselves, to explain and convince them that it is necessary to extract commonality, and in order to run society, we need to have something in common in a society. And that kind of commonality is referred to as, for example, property right or security, or under the veil of ignorance, maybe we are happy to agree that in exchange for depriving our liberties, we are able to get fairness in our social structures, such as distribution of the fairness. We consider definition of what common good is controversial, and it's very difficult to reach a consensus. But let's make a comparison. Paradigm without social contractology and paradigm with social contractology. Which is more likely that people agree to establish specific social goods?
Honest.
Okay, go.
Cool, okay, so you tell us that social contract uniquely secures agreement between people, right? We think that either people genuinely agree to the terms of the contract, in which case you don't need the contract, or some people don't agree, in which case you bind them illegitimately to an agreement that violates their very identity.
Okay, that idea is predicated upon the assumption that without having specific perception, without having specific determined terminology, people can naturally agree and figure out what we need for society. But unless people are explicitly explained with the languages, explicitly exposed to specific perception or theory, it's very difficult for people to just naturally understand the sophisticated necessity of compromising certain liberty in exchange for security. That is why we need theory, we need terminology to fulfill that level of accountability. We agree that the definition of common good is controversial, but people are able to participate in a procedure in which they can determine what value they need, they can prioritize. For example, in certain electoral term, maybe specific policies of, for example, increasing tax is the main focus of the community or society. The point is, you are able to take part in a procedure to vocalize your grievances. As a result of that, something the vast majority of people in the community agree to are the one that will be reflected onto the policy. Therefore, we believe this participative procedure is inclusive and open to everybody, regardless of your birth, regardless of your background, Mr. Speaker. And they say it's difficult to opt out this contract once you sign that. No, Leviathan has expertise. When, for example, certain period of time, your leaders have to go into the re-election again, so that they can re-explain, re-fulfill their accountability. Just because once you sign the contract, it doesn't automatically mean that the authority or sovereignty continues forever. There are times that you are able to re-examine or cooling off the contract, and that's the system, the inherent nature of the system. Moving on to the second level of argumentation about the reciprocity and the mutual beneficial function of the contract. The idea is you should receive the welfare in exchange for fulfill your obligation. We agree at the point at which you are born into the society, you are making tacit consent to existing contract via receiving education, security, and policy. Why is this? We agree that regardless of your initial consent, this reciprocal relationship exists. But this is necessary. Why is this? Because there are times that state has to enforce drastic measures that people do not like. For example, austerity measures or increasing taxation to make sure the long-term financial policies are necessary. For example, warfare or humanitarian intervention, providing ODA to other countries. In a short term, people are not able to see the value of those things, but it is necessary for the state to enforce such kind of policy because that is beneficial and necessary in order to maintain the function of the state in a longer term. In those circumstances, because of the social contract authority, state is able to transparently rationalize those policies and explain the necessity with these terms. Therefore, we are able to say it's your obligation to pay back to the state as long as you are receiving so many benefits, security, like foreign affairs, education, and welfare, so on. Only social contractuality enables us to explain or fulfill accountability to this extent. Moving on to the final argumentations. The social contract theology enables us to hold leaders and public accountable for the policies. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, our leaders are not absolutely biased because they are elected by the people. Via signing the contracts, they are able to gain and exercise their authority or sovereignty. That means that they have to obey with the manifesto and the policy that they explain during the elections. Otherwise, we are able to claim that that is different from our contract, that is different our signatures. Hence, the holding this principle of social contract is able to clarify the criterion on which we can blame our leaders, and that kind of explicitity is necessary for our society. More than that, the sense of contract is able to pressurize politicians. Because they are elected by our signatures, they have to fulfill what we expect them to do. Otherwise, they are no longer eligible and entitled to gain that position. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, compared to any other alternative political theory, we need stronger fiction to fulfill accountability to run our society efficiently. We are happy to oppose. Thank you.